Here we go. Talk about trades. Episode 2.
Episode 1.2.
2.2.
2.2.
Or
Yeah.
7, 12.
Well, I guess just because you already had your early morning episode.
Yeah. 2 in a day.
That's what I was
That's a
gonna say.
lot.
2 in a day is that's not typically what happens, but we're in a unique situation here with our friend Alex
Yeah.
coming into town.
Mhm.
I haven't seen him in a number of years.
Yeah, it's been at least since before pandemic.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely before pandemic.
I
Which
thought
was
I saw
already
you in
almost
2019, but maybe I think briefly.
Briefly,
I think,
yeah.
but it could have been before then.
But it's funny because every time we do see Alex, or at least I see Alex, it's like a whole, like another new, like lifetime's worth of stuff that he's done that I need to get caught up on because my man is
Always doing something.
He's always doing something.
Always doing something.
Moving around.
Getting out there.
Yeah.
Listening to today's earlier podcast, crypto.com, and I couldn't help but think, of course he would find his way into that industry. Like what tripped me out was, knowing you for as long as I've known you, and then, I remember one time you even told me you were doing fracking in the Balkan. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Alex is everywhere.
How did I do that?
All industries. That is amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. No, it's the crypto is an interesting space to be in. So unfortunately, I had about 10 Bitcoins back in the day, and
I heard that.
That was long gone.
My
I could have bought a house.
You could have bought more than a house, sir.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I heard you say that. You're like, I had 10 Bitcoin. I could have bought a house. I'm like, bruh. If you'd have just held on during the boom.
Well, we'll see what happens. I'm going to try to accumulate as much Dash as I can with my new project, and then drive that price up.
Cool. Yeah.
So,
what'd you think of the Easy Coin?
I think it's got a lot of potential. I like that, it's not just another random Ethereum token. That's, it's got its own potential for it might be pretty niche right now, but it seems like they're very passionate about the project. I would recommend finding some way of being able to know when you receive a transaction from the blockchain. So if someone you could set up storefronts.
Okay.
But that's very difficult.
You say storefronts, do you mean like
if you wanted to process a payment, like let's say you were selling a t-shirt or something on the internet, then how do you know that you received a payment? Like how do you get the block from the blockchain, pull out the transaction hash, identify which of those are associated with any addresses associated with your wallet, recognize what who sent it to that address, tie it to a transaction ID.
Damn, that sounds like a lot.
It's a lot of work.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of work. And there's not a lot of cryptos out there that really offer that capability. XRP and Dash are the two that come to mind.
Okay.
XRP is obviously problematic when it's with its lawsuit with the SEC.
Is that still ongoing with
it's
those
still
guys?
ongoing.
Wow.
Yep.
And it's hard to determine what's going to come out for them.
Right.
Obviously, XRP holders are optimistic.
Yep.
Oh, dude.
But then I'm sure SEC employees are also.
Right.
Well,
right.
do you think they have a fight in the game? Really? Like just the average employee? You said SEC employees, so I'm just thinking like those guys.
The lawyers, whatever.
Oh, the lawyers.
The
Okay.
people who are.
I'm like the dude who just like delivers the mail to everybody. He don't give a damn.
He don't give a damn. But you do know that the people at the SEC, when they speak, they want to feel like that it's the final say, and that legislators aren't gonna no.
Yeah.
So XRP is up in the air, which is unfortunate. Actually, that's what I was really most interested in starting to work with when I was building a payment gateway. But I also just really like. It's not as decentralized as a lot of other currencies, and I think that's really kind of one of the key points of building out the infrastructure and having more viable crypto. Like XRP, it's excellent for like international payments. It's very low fees. It's almost instant.
Right.
But it is controlled by the banks, and so.
That's the less centralized part.
Yeah, that's the more centralized part, and that's good for its purpose, which is like international payments. But I think if you want more anonymity or security,
right.
If you don't really want, with XRP, you just have your one address. And as soon as anybody finds out what that address is, they know
who it is,
and what kind of payments they're receiving. You just change the memo, and that's the only thing different. Something like Dash, you generate a new address for your wallet with each transaction. And so it's got the anonymity and security of Bitcoin, but it's also near instantaneous.
Yes.
So Dash, digital cash, that's kind of what I'm a big proponent of lately. I've been following their sprint reviews on YouTube and things. So
yeah.
And they're about to release their mainnet SDK at the end of this month. What that means is they've basically been working on a project where I can read the blockchain and determine the address, what amount was sent to which of my addresses. I can pull a block, read all the transaction hashes automatically, and determine.
It's just further proof, basically. Is that what this sounds like?
I'm sorry, what?
It's further proof of these transactions having taken place?
Well, that, but also just you can near instantaneously identify which transactions are associated with your wallet, and so you can process them like as if you were running a business or something to that effect. Sending payments is easy. Yes. Programmatically, comparatively, like if you know how to program. But receiving is very difficult when you don't have, when you just generate a new address for each transaction. XRP kind of made it easy because you just have the one address and you just create a new memo for to add as a tag to identify a transaction. Yes. So they're very different, serve very different purposes. Actually, Dash originally was associated with, it was called, well, the original name I don't recall, but then it changed to Darkcoin. But then they didn't want to be associated too closely with the dark web. Okay. So then they changed it to Dash, Digital Cash. And so they've been around since, I think, 2014. Wow. So they've been working on this project for years. Yeah. And I do believe it has a lot of potential. I mean, it serves the purpose of cash. If you're just trying to create some network of transactions that you would typically complete with cash, as opposed to a credit card for whatever reason that might be. Sure. So, EasyCoin would have a long way to go into actually being able to replicate that kind of behavior, I would assume, just because it's very difficult, but it's very possible. And so that would be one suggestion I would make, but I think that you would kind of need more developers involved. And it's going to be it's a process.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, if nothing else, like hearing that so many of, so my experience with cryptocurrency, I guess I would bring the perspective of just about maybe 95 to 98% of everyone else in this country, maybe in the world when it comes to crypto, is just like, oh, I just heard about it when everything started blowing the hell up. Right. You know what I mean? Seriously. Yeah. And then I was like, and by that time, of course, everyone's too late to the game. But when I hear things like, oh, Dash has been trying to develop since 2014, and then the more I read about it and researched it, Bitcoin, same way. You know, you look at EasyCoin just kind of starting out in 2020, was it maybe? Or I can't remember. End of last year. So they've got some years to go and develop if they keep that same course. Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, a lot of groundwork has been laid out before with other coins and things of that nature. And, you know, so I can see that them, you know, maybe progressing a little bit quicker than the very first ones. But I don't know, man. All in all, you know, again, speaking from the perspective of somebody where crypto is still new to us and the way it showed up, you know, you like the transparency that EasyCoin and that David was trying to offer. You like the fact that you could tie it to a face. I know, you know, he talked about the creator of Bitcoin and that pseudonym it was, and never know who is that guy.
Still don't. He might be dead.
Yeah. You know,
he takes a lot of heat. You know what I mean? Like, just because people can contact him at any time.
Right.
so all the haters out there, are always, just like
sure
giving them an earful, and
right.
But he's in there every day, like in the chats, just like,
trying to weather the storm.
people, just like trying to just be real with people,
and that's respectful.
Give them updates,
Yeah, I respect the hell out of that, because if I'm getting ready to put up, let's just say, and just off a whim, off of a friend of mine's suggestion, was like, hey, XRP, and I was like, okay, I think I got $1,000 to spare. I threw $1,000 in there, and $1,000 may not be anything to some people, but to working class, everyday guys like us, $1,000 is quite a bit of money. So I just did it just off of what a buddy of mine said, and invested in that, and with EasyCoin, and just hearing David and seeing him and seeing how much he believes in it, and the kind of person that he is, and knowing that he's really invested in the project, for one. Number two, he's an honest guy. I mean, who doesn't want to work with an honest man?
Right.
And if you've got good intentions, I don't want to get all existential here, but if you have typically good intentions, you know what I mean? You could be doing whatever, but it should be successful based on that premise alone. I would think karma and everything else. But anyhow, point I'm trying to make is he makes it easy for someone like me to want to, hey man, I gave up $1,000 for XRP. Let me see what $1,000 of EasyCoin will get me.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that have invested in EasyCoin, bought EasyCoin just because of, obviously David and his, the trust that he just exudes. I mean, me too. Like, I've asked friends and my, acquaintances and things like that, to trust in me, to, like, tell them, I'm not fucking with you. Like, EasyCoin is, I believe in it. Like, just, and they have, and they've hopefully we don't let them down. And my goal is not to let anyone down.
Of course not.
Don't want to disappoint anybody. Obviously, every investment comes with risk.
Especially a startup.
Crypto
that's the most
highly
risky.
volatile, and it's a startup. So to the people who have invested in the beginning, I would just say just hold in there, hang in there. Hodl. Yep. Cause
don't do what I do. And
what do y'all think of this concept? Somebody mentioned this to me a while back, and it just seems so elementary. But I don't know. I didn't think of it in the beginning, but somebody had mentioned to me, and I'm not going to say his name only just because it wasn't anything bad. I just was going to keep his business to himself. But anyways, what he told me was, when he invested in XRP, he put in, let's just say it was 1,000. I can't remember what it was, but as soon as that XRP was like 2,000, worth 2,000, just because of whatever, the market doing what it do. He pulled out his original investment of 1,000.
Yeah. Oh, and you just kept 1,000 in there,
and just said, okay, now whatever's in here is, I don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't lose.
Let it do what it do. I got my original investment out at least.
Exactly.
If you wait with the XRP specifically, if you wait for the lawsuit to proceed and it goes well, it will definitely pay off.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of, with the recent collapse of FTX, and all the other, Janet Yellen recently mentioned that, called for more regulation of the crypto industry. So I think actually it's going to be partly how intense is the SEC going to pursue this case, and also how competent Congress can be in actually passing legislation.
Sure.
So the latter, you could probably bank on them taking a while.
I wonder how many congressmen have cryptocurrency themselves.
Seriously though,
you know what I mean?
Probably a few.
I would imagine more than
younger ones.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
But I mean, if you think about it, like I've been saying, I guess, if you think about the future, the people who are born now,
right,
just it's part of their life.
Yeah.
They're gonna grow up. They're gonna become
always knowing it.
Congress people, some of them, a few of them, and then eventually it'll obviously just become more accepted. Yeah. And just it's almost inevitable.
So that brings up a question I wanted to kind of like pivot to with America starting its own digital currency. Has anyone heard anything about that?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, but before I go on to that, you did talk about FTX, the collapse of FTX. Y'all mentioned it briefly in this morning's podcast.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that? Like, what's up with that? Was it just all a big old fraud? Yeah.
Their accounting practices were horrible. They didn't keep enough records. I don't believe that they necessarily knowingly commingled funds and committed fraud. Right. That might have. I don't assume that, but at the end of the day, if fraud is fraud, whether you commit it or not, that will change how long you serve in prison or jail.
Oh, damn. So is that what these people are looking at?
I think that's what Sam is looking at. Ooh. And that's really unfortunate for him.
Yeah.
I mean, on top of the fact that he was worth $32 billion at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And now he's worth about $100K.
Oh.
Can you imagine?
Oh.
I know. Like, I don't think that there's ever been more of a dramatic fall than that.
You know what sucks too is I bet you this guy with everything was I don't think fraud was his intention starting out this whole deal.
No.
But just things falling the way they fell. He had no choice but to probably play the hand that was in front of him.
Play the hand that was dealt.
Yeah, and he's like, I got no choice but to do it like this because this,
Well, investors should have done their due diligence too. I mean, they knowingly put a lot of money into a very risky organization, and if you are out there looking for an exchange, I do recommend crypto.com, and not because I work there, but we are trying to get ahead of the regulatory game.
Right.
We are trying to be as legitimate and safe as possible. It's not perfect. There's been a few hiccups, but I would say that, like Binance, for example, they kind of break things before and ask for forgiveness.
Right.
Crypto is more reserved, and as a result, they might not be growing quite as quickly, and they don't have as many reserves around the world. But I think that if you want to hold your crypto in exchange, not use your own wallet, I would recommend it. But personally, if I had any sufficient holdings, I would hold it in my own wallet, offline.
Right. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
What are those?
Ledger?
Ledgers. Yeah.
Ledger. I have a Trezor. Okay. I had it since 2014, 2015. God, so
dude. You knew about this since then?
I know.
You didn't tell us?
I know. Well, no one took me seriously. I remember back then, like, people were like, "You think Bitcoin will be worth $1,000?"
Yeah.
And I'm just and now in hindsight, it's like, well, not at the time. It was just.
We ended up worth some tens of thousands of dollars. That's
yes.
At one point, 70,000. What did?
Yeah, 68,000 something. So it's but in Bitcoin, it was the original. So I mean, that's what people know, and that's what that's what a lot of investors are still holding too, because it's like the gold. But also, like gold, you wouldn't use it for real world transactions for the most part. You're not gonna wait 20 minutes for you to buy coffee. Like nobody's gonna do that.
Yeah.
But there is at this point so much. I mean, the clients that we work with, like, they invest millions of dollars to trade this sort of stuff. So the infrastructure's there, everything is there. It's just kind of a matter of the market just went to shit, and that's inflation and high interest rates and such.
Well, we're in the middle of a economic
wait till
downturn,
2014.
right?
Wait till 2024, 2025.
Yeah.
Things will turn around.
Right,
but if you sell before then if you are holding and you sell before then, you'll probably regret it.
Yeah, you'll be kicking yourself like people who may have had 10 Bitcoin and then sold it before. I don't know.
I don't know.
If anything, they say buy low, right? So now's the time to
same with the stock market too.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
invest in companies that are going to be around in 20 years or so, and it's a good time to get in if you have the spare cash.
Yeah,
sure.
Not a lot of people do.
Yeah, it's true.
It's like the catch-22 of a recession, right? It's like the perfect time to buy, but you ain't got the extra cash.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's cool. I still find, I still try to, invest a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Just because even a little bit goes a long way.
Of course.
So as much as you can.
Yeah, as much as you can.
If I didn't blow all my life savings on my own risky thing, then I would consider it. But So it goes.
Well, in a sense, you're investing in.
I'm investing in myself, in my own thing, and it does support the crypto world. So
you want to talk about it?
Yeah, let's discuss it a little bit. And see what the internet feels about it. I think this is the first time I've ever revealed it to the outside world, outside of. So, Tinder for escorts with crypto escrow, more specifically Dash.
Okay.
The goal is to allow people to advertise their services, whatever it might be, for free.
Yes. And
you can log in with Twitter anywhere and access the app anywhere that Twitter is available in the world. Match and chat for free. The escorts have a greater ability to pick and choose who their clients are. With Twitter login, there's an ability for me to, if I need to, tie an account to an individual to ensure safe transactions go through.
Yes.
And if you are in the state of Illinois, specifically the Chicago area, good news for you. You can escrow with Dash cryptocurrency. And what that means is that, let's assume that I have matched with, let's say I'm a client, I've matched with an escort, and we're chatting, and we agree to meet at a house or hotel or bar or whatever it might be. We're going to the beach. Sure. We're going to have a picnic, right?
Nice.
Yeah.
There's beaches in Chicago.
Oh, they're beautiful in the summer.
I forget about this.
You got to go in the summer.
Okay. I'm a big beach guy.
Big beach guy. All right. So we're going to have a picnic, right? Right on the lake. And let's say we're charging $300 an hour, and we're going to go out there for 2 hours. I submit a form. I just say the escort sets their rate, so the client can't change that. But what they can choose is 1, 2, 3, or 4 hours.
Yes.
And so let's say I pick 2 hours.
Right.
I submit that form, and then you'll see a QR code, a Dash address, and the amount to send. So you can either submit the funds through the QR code if you have like I have a Dash app wallet, or you could send it to the address manually, however you want to do it.
Right.
So let's assume let's just go through the standard situation, so we don't get into too many nitty-gritty details. But
sure.
$300 an hour, 2 hours. So I send at the cost. Let's assume Dash is worth $50 each. That comes out to 12 Dash. Okay. So I send 12 Dash to the address for the app. The app holds the funds. And then the escort has the ability to accept or reject the offer. If they accept the offer, happy path, then a start button will be available for the client. And so in theory, so we're going to a picnic, right? And I hit a start button. You have 6 minutes to meet and greet.
Right.
To decide, do we want to continue with our picnic? And both parties have the ability to stop the transaction at that point.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, it's prorated. So, the client's only going to lose so many dollars, instead of hundreds of dollars.
No, sure.
If anything goes wrong,
right,
or whatever,
right.
or if neither party is just interested.
Got it.
After 6 minutes pass, the stop button goes away. 2 hours later, or I guess in 1 hour and 54 minutes later, the app automatically sends the escort their funds to their address. If the client had sent too much for whatever reason, they sent 13 instead of 12 Dash, then they get 1 Dash back automatically. And neither party knows each other's Dash address, and they can go on their merry way.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, it's not like you're showing up with anything other than just that, like just the app and your phone, or what I'm sure the phone.
Yeah, yeah. And so you could you don't need a wallet, no cash involved, right. And that's pretty niche. But when I think about end user safety and anonymity and security, and also just potential investment,
sure,
it's a good deal. And, for an escort, if they wanted to, they could set up an account with crypto.com. sell their Dash there, upload it to a debit card, and use it wherever Visa is acceptable.
There you go. Come on.
Yeah. So that's the goal. I take 10%, which is very low for the industry. It's more standard to be in the 40 to 50% range. Oh, wow. And I allow you to advertise for free.
Yeah, come on.
So
you know what? I can't help but think, and just hearing what this app is about, but I can't help but think there's already an app out there where these type of users, so to speak, like the what would be like the escort side of it, they already have like a platform similar to that. You know what I'm
there
talking
are
about?
Options available. The difference is they charge the escorts to advertise.
Okay.
And they, in order to communicate with their client, who they can't pick and choose so readily, they have to just provide a phone number.
Oh, okay.
So it's just like post on a website. Here's my photos, bio. Anybody can see all my photos. And they got my access to my phone number. So there's less security. There's less ability for them to pick and choose their clients. With my app, you only see when you're doing the swiping, you only see the first photo. And so if you don't match, then you have a very limited amount of information about who this person is.
Right.
And then also you can chat for free, and so you can keep everything within the app. You don't have to, spend money on text messaging or expose your privacy.
Sure. Unless you get like a burner phone.
Unless you get a burner phone.
But then that's another expense.
Yeah, it's another expense. I would say that a lot of them probably would use a burner phone to access this app in general. That's possible.
Yeah.
I don't really care if they do or don't.
Sure,
But the idea is like I want to make it so that people don't have to pay to advertise.
Yeah.
I want to make it so we can track clients or escorts if something goes wrong.
Sure. So there's a security there.
There's a security feature. You can report people. I want to build out additional reporting features, but in order to do that, I'm going to release the app and get in-user feedback first about exactly how they want to design
now, that. Now, the reporting part.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that's one of the big selling points of using your app would be security.
Mm-hmm.
We have to report
and safety.
Unfortunately, something happened.
Right.
There needs to be a
whatever
report.
It might be.
Whatever it may be, we have to report. Who's going to take on that? Like, who investigates that? The local authorities?
Most likely.
And then when they start to figure out the situation and they look at everything, would they potentially go, well, wait a second, maybe the source of all of this was that app?
Right.
Know?
Well,
and would that get?
So, I mean, there are potential. I could be regulated away in the future, but my goal, like Crypto.com, is to get ahead of that. I actually want to work with politicians and local authorities and police to make it better. And I think that if you're honest about it and you put a face to it,
sure,
and you say, well, this is something that is there's a market for it, it's going to be used, then you just want to be as honest as possible, unless and I think also what was I gonna say? That I forgot what I was gonna say.
No, yeah. Well, I mean, I brought it up. Just talking about report it. The people who might investigate, could eventually go, hey man, is this app even something that should be around? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. You're trying to stay ahead of
I'm trying to stay ahead. I think I think that money talks.
Oh, sure.
If they're seeing tax revenue and they're seeing ability to actually address these issues through but while also earning tax revenue and essentially allowing people who might be off of the grid and not paying
taxes,
income taxes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That it actually ensures that there's more legitimacy.
Yeah.
And that this is so. I mean, I think that there are a lot of counties and states, obviously, that are going to be less accepting of certain things.
Sure.
But Illinois, I'm less concerned. They're pretty. Well, I don't want to go into that.
Yeah.
But
Bible Belt USA, they would be like,
they would wonder. Yeah. They would wonder about it. But these are problems. We're trying to legitimately solve problems for people, both parties involved.
Sure.
And as long as we have people that are willing and able to do these things, then it's good to have that option available.
You brought up another interesting point when you said tax revenue, and then so is everyone going to get like a 1099?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So as a client, you don't have to provide your legal information, but if you sign up. And if you just want to match and chat for free, then you don't have to do that.
Okay, yeah.
But if you want to earn crypto through the app, you do have to submit your legal name, address, social security number.
Okay.
So, but it's all secure. All that information is stored in a very separate collection in the database that isn't accessible anywhere except your profile page.
Right.
So no one is going to there's no remote possibility of anyone being able to access that information without your permission.
Right.
But that said, you're going to get a 1099 for if you earn more than $600.
$600, right.
Yeah, that's the limit.
Deal. That's the new deal now.
Originally, I designed it. It used to be like a $20,000 a year annual limit, and so the original design was limit the amount of transactions someone can complete in a year. And then you can't earn more than 20 grand. But this seems more fair and legitimate anyway. Yeah. And it ensures that people who are earning Dash, that they are paying their fair share of taxes.
Yeah.
And that's the best way to go about it. And then we'll be very straightforward with our accounting practices. The state of Illinois gets income taxes. It's 4.95% of your flat rate, and then of course federal taxes. So it's going to be as legitimate and safe as I possibly can make it.
Sure.
And I take a pretty small fraction. There is a lot of additional features I want to build out, even potential subscription services, like if people really want to hone in on certain elements. But we'll see what end users really want. And
like you said, I think you told me earlier. You said first, let's just get the product.
Get the product out. Yeah. See what their priorities are, and go from there.
If you build it,
they will come.
Yes, they will.
Yep.
God damn.
Yep. That's a beautiful slogan.
God damn.
I think I actually.
My slogan was
that the other night.
My
so great
it
minds.
Was great minds. My original slogan was people coming together.
Yes.
That's a good one
that's
too.
A good
I like
one
that
too,
one.
man.
Yes.
People helping people.
People helping people out.
Help me help you.
Yeah.
It's therapy on the beach.
God damn, I love the beach.
Yeah.
Man, a lot of people love the beach.
Yeah, dude, hang on, man. So beaches in Chicago, really?
Yep, I live right on the lake, actually.
Right on the lake.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So it's
we gotta go up there.
It's cold water.
Yeah,
you don't really want to go swimming.
You don't want to go swimming.
You don't go swimming, but you can hang out on the beach.
Yeah.
And it's a long beach. It's probably the most beautiful beachfront in America, in my opinion.
Can you do little bonfires there, maybe? Or
No,
not really. They don't like that.
They don't like that.
Yeah, maybe go like boating.
Definitely go boating.
If this thing works out as well as I hope, we'll all be renting a boat next summer.
Very nice.
And
so this is actually happening fairly soon.
Now, very soon. So
you got developers, you got people working on this.
I pretty much built almost everything. I did hire one developer to make it prettier because I suck at design.
Okay.
Or at least UI, UX, and things like HTML. Like that's not my. But I built the entire back end myself. Most of the front end. I designed all of it, doing all the marketing myself, pretty much running everything myself. Once I'm financially able to, whether that's through success or investment or both, then I will hire plenty of people to help me with all kinds of
aspects of the business.
Whatever money I can reinvest in it to make it better for people is going to that's the goal.
Well, yeah, and that's the goal I think to any successful business too, right? I mean, you want it to last,
right?
You can't just keep all the profit. And not
got a name for it?
Jades.
Yeah.
So Jades.io will be the website.
Yep.
So it's not an app.
How do you spell Jades?
JADES.
Okay.
.io.
Yeah.
So it should be live. Well, it's hard to say specifically. So Dash.org is, in theory, releasing their production SDK on Christmas. And then I'll switch. There's just a few lines of code that I have to point from testnet to mainnet. It's just very simple, basically just changing an API key.
Yeah.
And then do some final testing, and should be good to go after that. And it might be a long winter. I don't know how many people are going to use it during that time as much. It seems more of a summertime.
You got to kind of get it out.
You can't hang out on a beach during the winter.
Yeah, that's true. True
right?
story.
Yeah,
it's already cold water.
It's cold. So.
You have to cuddle up by a fire.
That's a good point. You know,
keep warm.
That's
There's no fires on this beach.
There's no fires on the beach.
No fires on the beach.
Not on the beach, but maybe like, indoors.
Indoors. Yeah, you can switch it up. Doesn't have to be on the beach.
Yeah.
You can go to fancy restaurants.
There you go.
Nice.
Or clubbing, or whatever activity that two adults want to do.
A garage?
Hanging out here.
Yeah.
You could be paying me $500 an hour in Dash.
Just talk on the podcast.
Talk on the podcast.
Your time is valuable.
Time is valuable.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I think that, people are going to get a kick out of this, so it's worth it.
There's no doubt that there's going to be interested users for whatever reason.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, just pure entertainment.
Right.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you're a business guy.
Yep.
And you've got a bunch of other business guys that you're whining and dining for one reason or another.
Right.
And you're like, what would make this...
this would make this a fun time?
Yeah, make this better? Hang on, man.
Yeah.
Let me get on Jades real quick.
Let me get on Jades and order a couple escorts.
See what we got going on. Yeah, man. We can get some women in here and spice this up.
Here's some crypto tech nerds and that, you're, a little savvy, but you don't have to be super savvy to use this. You basically just, if you can log into an exchange and buy Dash and send it out, then it's all good. Actually, unfortunately, crypto.com doesn't allow for withdrawals. So that's kind of...
Really?
Yeah. It's
so how do you... you have to get it to your ledger or your...
Right. So, so they wouldn't be able to
Trezor.
send me... They wouldn't be able to send me the funds directly from that exchange, unfortunately. So that's... I don't know why they do that.
Wait, but I thought you said... Hang on.
You could receive
upload
it.
the Dash and then get the...
You could
the
send...
debit.
Yeah, so for a client... I would not recommend crypto.com because you can't withdraw.
Okay, got it.
For an escort,
yes,
you could take the Dash, send it to crypto.com, exchange it for Tether or USDC or one of these other stable coins or Bitcoin, get a debit. There's a debit card you can sign up for, and then you could upload it directly to the debit card.
Got it.
And then use that Visa card anywhere that it's accepted.
Now, I've seen people, I've seen like ATM machines that will do the whole crypto deal. So would that debit card essentially work there? Now I can get U.S. cash?
You could, you could sell it for, a lot of the ATMs don't offer Dash selling specifically.
Well, not Dash, but you said you can convert it to Bitcoin or whatever, upload it to this debit card.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
What I'm trying to say?
Yeah. The debit card you can take out cash. So, if you wanted to, I mean, I guess it depends on how you want to spend your money or save it. I personally would recommend holding the Dash until it's worth more than Bitcoin.
Sure.
But you gotta do it if you gotta pay for college or whatever it is you gotta do. Then
people are using this app, man. People are trying to
pay the bills. Or whatever it might be. Make their own investments, have the financial freedom. You can work whenever, however, wherever.
See, and I like that too. I really do like that idea. And also the other platform I was talking about was obviously OnlyFans, right?
Yeah.
So there's OnlyFans out there, and but if you're like a top dog producer on OnlyFans, like the ones that are like 0.01% top earners,
right?
Like they're not gonna, I don't know, but they're doing whatever they're doing just on their own with their pictures and videos and whatever the, other case may be.
Yeah.
Something like Jade's could come in and be like, well, look, we're not giving you access to the top 0.1% of, the OnlyFans or whatever, but we're giving you access to anyone else that might feel that they can promote themselves
locally.
Locally. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Locally, in their region, in their area.
Yeah. You could travel too. There's no reason why people can't come fly into O'Hare in Chicago, take the train downtown,
right?
Work for the weekend, go back. I mean, you don't need a car. You just fly in, fly out.
Yeah, post up. I guess that you're available.
All you have to, so there's two features for that. One is you can set active and inactive for your escort profile.
Yeah.
And if you're active, there's a button to update the location, and that location is essentially the location that the clients will get their geolocation point from.
Right.
So you wouldn't necessarily have to have it always associated to where you currently are. You know what I'm saying? Like with Tinder, for instance, it updates your location every time you move somewhere and open the app, right?
Here, Snapchat.
Yeah, but here you could go downtown, update location button, and then go hang out at your apartment or hotel, wherever in the city.
Which may be away from that.
Might be away from that, but you're getting a high concentration of potential clients. Yeah. And then you can meet wherever, or they can meet you, or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So
I think it's that little extra an extra added security element there too as well.
Yeah.
In case somebody who's crazy enough to try to find you on that little map.
Yeah, there were some ways that you were able to. I don't know if they're so much anymore, but like Bumble and Tinder had that issue where if you could triangulate where someone is.
Oh man.
So like if you drove around the city, for instance, and you were like, okay, they're 4 miles away from this point, 3 miles away from this point, 2 miles away from this point, you could.
That's some stalker.
You could get it. You could get it down to the block, and some people did.
Dude,
that happened.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but we're not doing that.
That's some huge stalker energy.
And also, just it's the escort picking the client, and so they're kind of making the final say in the decision. I think that's fair.
Well, you know what? You had mentioned something earlier too, like a rating system. I think that's important. I mean, the Uber has it, obviously. Right. The not just the Uber driver, but the client.
Parties.
Come on, both parties do. Because I mean, how many times have you seen on the news, fucking people stabbing the Uber drivers and robbing them and all kinds of junk,
all kinds of crazy stuff.
Heck, man.
Yeah, we want to avoid all that.
But is there a way to really? I mean, that's a hard question. But is there a way to really avoid it? I mean, I know you're doing your best and you got the best intentions, but let's face it, man. People
will take advantage of others for sure. Right.
Scammers and catfishers.
Well,
and
yeah, exactly. And that's part of why I chose you have to log in with Twitter. There are other options, like social media options, that just don't really allow for this particular type of thing.
Yeah.
And the only other two options were email login or phone number. Email is pretty sketchy.
Pretty personal, yeah.
And also you can just randomly create emails, and you can't tie it to someone.
You can do that with a Twitter too?
You could, yeah. Well, I think they're tied to phone numbers. So there is some accountability there.
Gotcha.
Phone number. The ideal thing would be you log in with the phone number, receive a text message, and do the 2FA. But it costs money, and I think for this particular thing, the lower the fees that I charge, the better.
Yeah.
If anything, I would actually like to drop the amount that I charge from 10% to
even less than
2%. If I could.
Well, I imagine if
it goes enough,
if Jade's gets huge,
right?
Then you could easily do that. Yeah. Everybody will be happy. You'll still be happy.
I'll be happy. I get retire my mom.
Yeah, you'll still be happy.
You'll
get that house.
Yeah, get that house, and then it'll be the people's app. Or whatever. Well, not quite. I mean, it's still a business,
sure,
but
sure.
I mean, heck, I had a very similar, or I was working on a very similar concept on the app with that booking app, right?
Oh, right, yeah,
booking, gigs.
Yeah,
I mean, it was in theory, it's the same kind of idea. You got people who want to book gigs, and we got like venues
who might want gigs.
People,
yeah, gotta match them.
Yeah, you gotta match them, and then it was the same kind of thing where, we would hold the money, until the gig was over, make sure they got paid, everything. So it's more secure. And then you get like
whatever happened with that?
It just kind of fell through. Apps are expensive, man. 10K minimum. Probably starting out,
to start out.
Just to get like some basic shit.
But you know what?
I built most of mine, and I spent more than 10K.
Well, so that's you doing it yourself. I mean, try hiring somebody to do it for you. They're gonna charge a premium.
Well, no, and I mentioned y'all even talking about just y'all's video editing for EasyCoin.
Yeah,
and being able to have that in house, how much that saved y'all.
Seriously,
yeah. So that's some serious.
Because that guy Omar, he remember worked on that app.
Yeah.
Or I guess it was more like a streaming service.
Right.
Songbird.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, he did graphic design. So he's obviously very talented.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen his paintings.
I have not.
Extremely good. I'm talking like. He can make a painting look like a picture.
Oh wow!
Like a legit real life picture.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, oil paintings and stuff like that. So super badass.
Good deal. But again, back to people that you could potentially get on to help develop your apps or whatever, and the amount of money it's going to cost you.
Geez.
But any business, you have to have seed capital and everything else, right? I mean,
I think all in all, tech is probably one of the lower barriers to entry if you want to run a business. Like even if you were wanting to just have a food truck, I mean, think of all the regulatory licenses that could easily eat into the thousands, let alone the truck, the food, the training of employees, and hiring one employee is really costly when you're just getting started. And
talking about like at least like $30K a year
minimum,
something like
that. If you wanted, I mean, that's probably not even including the taxes that you're going to end up paying for them.
And that's where business loans, I guess, come in, right? I mean, you go and most people have to apply for a business loan to try to cover all of that upfront cost, and then they're just hoping that once we get the final product out to people, that the people will want it as much, we can get all that stuff back.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm not so. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, dude.
And the regulatory environment can be very challenging depending on where you are.
Lots of red tape. And then you got to generate enough profit not to only pay back the loan, but pay yourself.
Live off of it. I mean, most businesses fail in their first few years. So,
would Jade's be specifically just for that, or what's the potential for someone? I don't know. Who's got other services to provide?
Well, that's kind of what I was kind of spitballing with my app being so similar. I mean, but I was thinking about like therapists.
Therapy.
People use escorts sometimes it's just someone to talk to.
Right.
Literally just buy their time.
Yeah.
Right.
They just like to have a pretty girl to talk to or whoever it is to talk to.
Yeah.
Or vent or talk about whatever.
Yeah.
Because they're bored. They're lonely old men or something. Like that.
But, and hopefully that. I'm sorry, my man.
That's just all, but obviously they use it as kind of like a therapy.
No doubt.
But what if somebody actually wanted therapy?
Yeah.
Or sometimes me and you joke about how just talking, just about our issues, problems, whatever we're thinking is like therapy.
It's like therapy.
Like
I've been charging you this whole time.
I know. You have a running tab. I know.
Yeah. You got an IOU.
I'm joking. Oh yeah.
Or people say writing music is therapeutic and things like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, but what if a therapist wanted to put her services on your platform?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to stop anybody from providing whatever is available. I think as long as they can find people who are willing to pay, then it's all good.
Yeah.
It's a minimum of 100 an hour, increments of 50 up to 500 an hour. So
I think therapists around that.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah. I went to an anger management therapist.
Yeah.
And they cost about 100 something.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, you're probably going to be working with more like professionals of like, maybe they're a metal worker and, but they've been at it for 30 years and, or an artist. Artists can charge a lot, and there's all kinds of different professions that you could meet and chat with this app. So I mean, I'm not going to stop anybody from using it for legitimate purposes. That's pretty much the only reason I put it out there. Is obviously if you're like a drug dealer, stay off my fucking app.
But can we want them to stay off the app. You would want them to stay off the app.
Yeah. So
are they realistically going to stay off the app? I mean, if they find a way to get on there.
So I, in addition to the login with Twitter thing, there's two different things. So images, I'm tracking images and tracking the biographies that people create, and the messages. So the image vendor I'm using, they tie into AWS recognition, which can identify drugs,
right?
Maybe like children that aren't old enough
that's
to,
huge, bro. That's scary. You're right, man. You just brought up something I had
you don't want child labor
problems.
Not
at all.
Right.
Hell no.
Yeah. So they can identify those sorts of things.
That's good.
And with the messaging, there's another company based out of France called Side Engine, where you just send a message to their API and it'll send you whether people are like, you can filter out basically the type of content. Like, so if somebody's using curse words or specific wording or they're talking about drugs, then you can identify it.
And then what do you just block them, kick them out? No, there's no, did you give them a warning? Like,
I actually don't want to go into that too much.
Okay.
The ultimately, it just kind of depends on what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think it's, the severity is just, if somebody were like in Illinois, like weed's legal, for instance.
Sure.
And it's not legal to sell, like on a personal level, but like if somebody were selling pot on there, like I'd most likely give them like a verbal warning kind of thing, and just be like, you need to get off of that. This is violating the terms and conditions. We're going to suspend your account. That sort of thing.
Right.
If they're selling heroin, then you might have to get the authorities involved.
Right.
Things like that.
Right.
So it just depends on the severity of.
Man,
what
you brought up the thing with the whole child labor deal, dude.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that because I think we're just the kind of guys that, we're thinking things legitimately and just morally.
Not everyone thinks that way,
dude. And you already know there'd be some
there's a way to
fucker that'd be trying to go out there and God, man.
People will find it.
If your app can find a way to make sure that doesn't happen,
right?
That's huge, man.
Yeah.
Because people are already gonna have an issue with this app on a moral sense for one reason or another.
Right. They don't like random things happening to random people for whatever reason.
Right. So that would really put a nail in that thing.
Put a nail in the coffin if I don't address it.
Yeah. No doubt.
So that's what I worry about most, to be honest.
Yeah.
But like I said, we're using AI to, determine all these things. If I could hire people to manually go through profiles
and vet people,
then I would. But it's going to require some investment. So for now, AI, and I mean, if it's a small enough user base to start with, I'll just do it myself.
Sure.
Like if we're talking 500 escorts across the U.S. or whatever, I mean, I could manually do that. Even if it were in the thousands, I could do it. It would just take more time.
Yeah.
And then searching through people's messages. Like, I'm not doing this so that people don't feel like it's not private or anything. That's why I want to kind of use computers to do a lot of the work ahead of me.
Okay, yeah.
I want people to feel like, their conversations are private and safe. And, if you're talking about things that are illegal or in any way, you're getting booted, or we're going to track you and we're going to find you depending on what it is.
Yeah.
And
report you, get you.
You're going to pay for that.
Yeah, like when you walk into a head shop and there's signs all over the wall.
Oh yeah,
like,
don't say bong.
Yeah.
Don't mention illegal substances.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Same thing, man.
And that's fair. I mean, you want to abide by the rules and make people safe, and they feel that way, and I think that actually kind of adds to the experience of the app in a way that it's like you feel like this is a legitimate thing, and it's not just some random website that like it's just out to get you kind of thing. So
Yeah, no, you're not a scammer or anything like that.
I've exposed myself too much to do that. Yeah.
No, but yeah. I mean, obviously, like you're not hiding behind
I'm not
anonymity type.
No. It's I want to be as upfront with everyone as possible and make this a fun and safe experience. And maybe we'll generate some tourism in Chicago.
Yeah.
Generate a little bit of, they're hurting for money. They could probably use a little bit of incentive. So
Chirac, is that what they call it? Yeah, man.
Yeah,
come on, bro.
Yeah. No, it can be tough. I mean, but I also worry about, how do I say this? Other people feeling like I'm infringing on their perceived territory.
Oh yeah, I get what you're saying.
It is Chicago.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean, like with the booking app, but obviously there's promoters and booking agents.
Exactly.
You would be cutting those guys out,
right?
Basically trying to cut them out. They probably wouldn't appreciate that.
They're gonna try to put you out of business in whatever way they can.
Yeah.
Jesus. And so it's something to concern yourself with. But I'm okay with it. I've thought a lot about this. I've spent too many years dwelling on it, and it's built, and I can't go back now.
Yeah.
I mean,
you got to see it. You got to see it through.
Got to see it through.
God dang,
it's
Alex!
Like a child you've been,
it's my baby,
growing in your belly.
It's my baby. Yeah,
it's time to push it out.
Yeah, this is my life goal right now.
You can't put the genie back in the bottle.
I mean, unless in the next month some regulators come out and are like, crypto is banned, which would be dumb.
That'd be stupid. Lots of people lose a lot of money.
Yeah, it would.
Does this app can't work without crypto?
I think in the long run, once people feel like this is a legitimate organization, and Venmo is like, oh yeah, we'll be willing to work with that. Then,
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Then you can do that.
Right.
I would think too that you were worried about cutting into potential territories or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you gotta understand that the clients they probably don't deal with crypto. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They probably don't have crypto, have access to crypto.
Right.
So you may not be taking anybody from anyone.
That's very valid.
Yeah.
That's very valid. It's pretty niche. So I mean, but
I still wouldn't advertise your address. Maybe you know what I mean.
No.
Try to put as
just so everyone knows, I live in a building with 24/7 security. So but
I know the zip code from Scruff McGruff, Chicago, Illinois
60652.
Yeah,
never forget that.
Yeah, go to that zip code.
Take a bite out of crime.
Right. Well, we're trying. It's a beautiful thing. It's really interesting industry to be into. I can't think of anything I'd rather do.
Okay, cool.
So
yeah, I mean, we've obviously spent the majority of this time speaking about that project, Jades.io, that you plan to release when?
Ideally next month.
Next month?
Ideally.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I want to go visit.
I
mean, but just
wait till summer.
Just for research purposes.
Yeah. Of course. We'll bring
Michelle.
Bring you and Michelle. Yeah.
Kill me. Yeah.
No, it'll be fine. Come during the summer when it's nice out.
Right. No, I feel you. No, but Jades.io. So I mean, it's
potential. The earliest potential date is early January. Okay. But it depends on how fast -org releases their own SDK, how quickly I can do testing, and then I need to finish completing my talks with a lawyer. Yeah. But I should have pretty much everything.
Are you needing any? Like what EasyCoin was saying, hey, any investors out there? Is Jade's needing any sort of investors?
I would love that if I could find it.
Right.
It's a matter of is someone willing to take the risk?
Yeah, it's a risk.
It's a risk. And do they want to tie their name to just some random crypto thing? I mean, the market's pretty bad, and you know what I mean? Yeah. So,
I think it's a little unfair to judge the crypto market right now.
Yeah.
Just considering all markets are down,
Yeah.
you know, and the looming recession that we're, you know,
Crypto
approaching.
market does follow the market.
It should, you know.
But I would argue now is the time to get in.
Oh yeah, no, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've already said that.
Yeah.
Right. Get it when it's cheap.
Yeah, we're going to be earning Dash at $44 a Dash right now, and once it's $44,000 a Dash,
Yeah, you're gonna be going.
Yeah.
Damn, it's out of reach now.
it's out of reach.
Coulda,
now.
shoulda, woulda.
The maximum potential earnings that I've calculated, assuming I could actually do something along those lines, is about $25 billion. So there's definitely potential for investors if that's what they're interested in.
Yep.
And if you want to be in a hella cool industry, in my opinion, maybe not everyone thinks that way.
No,
They should.
Yeah. You know, that's I think that we could say that would be the, what's the word?
Limiting factor.
Well, you know, it's our culture. It's American culture. It's always been known as very prude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When it comes to that
Yeah.
industry and that area.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
Right.
very, hush and make sure you turn off the lights and everything else. It's like, no, man.
Yeah.
You know, celebrate it.
Yeah, celebrate it.
You know?
I'm sure there are people out there that if everyone I've discussed this with I don't know how many people. Everyone says it will work.
Yeah.
I've had one hater, and he basically was just like, he's not into it.
Right.
I told him that, okay, so interestingly enough, the ad engine behind Pornhub, you can geo-target by location and gender.
Okay.
So like Chicago area, women in the Chicago area will see this ad and stuff. And he said something along the lines of, oh yeah, my church advertises on Pornhub. And I was like, that's a weird way to go about it. But like, he was definitely not really into for whatever reason. I don't know. I didn't really want to argue with him.
No,
much,
you didn't argue. I mean, you just respect.
Yeah,
the way he
just let him.
feels.
Just that's his thing, and that's okay.
Yeah,
you know?
is okay. Yeah.
And but generally, especially younger people, they're like, yeah, I mean, if it legitimizes people's work and makes people feel happy and safe, and I think it's very honest.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my best friends, she said, like, it's probably one of the most honest relationships you can have with someone.
Oh,
right.
God.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, in a way,
Yeah.
it's so like
no BS.
no BS. You know, you get what you want, or well, not necessarily, but I mean, within the bounds of what people can offer.
Sure.
Maybe you never know. Maybe some people will, like each other.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like a matchmaking.
Yeah.
Match.com.
I will be willing to sell to Match.com. They bought Tinder. They bought Plenty of Fish.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Match.com bought those?
Yeah. They bought those. So I mean, if they want to expand,
Did not know that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm willing to sell. Plenty of Fish sold for $500 million. So.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
If
you build it,
they will come. Yeah. And there was a research paper done in 2014 that basically calculated that the industry in the U.S. is probably worth about $14 billion a year.
Wow. But they would never know, right? You can't.
It's really hard to.
No one's reporting this shit.
Yeah, exactly. So it's it's a little bit of speculation, but if you were to adjust by population for just the state of Illinois, we're talking $500 million a year revenue, and then whatever fraction of that, I take 10%. So we're still, even if I only had 10% of the market and took 10% of the revenue from that, that's $5 million a year.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know. It's really fucking stupid how much money can be made here.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm telling you, investors.
Yeah. This is for you.
For someone, I mean, that's the thing. Like with tech, you can, it's not a food truck. You can, you can serve a virtually unlimited number of customers, and it costs total less than $15,000 to do all this, and that's hiring someone to do the design work for me. Right. Obviously, if I had hired more developers to build out the whole thing and project managers and stuff, that would, but like if you're an investor, you don't have to spend on all that. It's already done. I've already done all the legwork. Right. It's ready to go.
Right. You're just building on it.
Yeah.
So how do people contact you, or do you want them to contact you?
That's a good question.
They can contact me, and I could.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah,
let's do that. You can give them my Facebook information or something like that, or my phone number, depending on what they're interested in.
Comment on this video, and then go from there.
If people are interested,
if for whatever, if you have questions, concerns, whatever it might be, I told Cody this morning, I had this dream last night that I was back in college for some reason, and I ran into Shaquille O'Neal. Nice. And I told him about this app, and he was so enthralled that he wanted to connect me with an investor.
He was like, hey, how could you go do that? You go get this
right.
Shout out to Shaq.
Shout out to Shaq.
Shaq in the dream.
And then like my colleagues and and then I started failing my classes, and people were like, all you care about is this app, blah, 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 blah. You don't care about your classes anymore. And I'm just secretly thinking well, I don't really want to tell you that, Shaq wants to, work with you. If Shaq, if you're listening, I would love to hear your thoughts. Even investments or no investment, right. Just tweet about it. And that's, that would be beautiful. Nice. But no, I've been obsessed with this thing and talked about it so much the past, visiting Texas right now for Thanksgiving, family from Texas, so circling around Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, finally here in Houston, and seeing all my closest friends and Cody,
Yeah.
And
kind of like you're on tour.
Yeah, I'm on tour. And everybody I talk to and their friends wants to hear about it.
Yeah. Nice. So when it does get, up and running, you're going to let everyone, all your friends know that, hey, it's up and running.
Yeah.
Come check it out.
I'll post about it on Facebook and
Twitter.
I'm not on Twitter. I just use them for login.
Okay.
So I'm going to advertise on Pornhub once I actually have confirmed that once I launch it, I'll give it a week or two to double check everything, triple check, make sure. And then, word of mouth is obviously wonderful. That's probably the best. And then Twitter is actually kind of fortunate because a lot of the escorts could advertise on Twitter.
Yeah.
Come to this website.
Right.
One of the beautiful things about Pornhub is it's so fucking cheap, and you can geolocate it and target by gender. So to have about 5 million ads in the Chicago area oriented towards women would cost me about $1,000.
What?
To advertise.
And that's a very heavily trafficked site.
It's a very heavily trafficked site. And they produce an annual report. It's 12 to 15 pages long about, generally what time users log in, what are the most active times, 1/3 of users are women, and so my thing is, I'm thinking start advertising for women first. The gay community obviously can assist as well. Yeah. That's another money maker.
Absolutely.
So, but we'll start with 5 million ads, maybe hit a maximum. You can even set a maximum number of times an ad will show to a specific IP address. So, obviously not all women are on Pornhub, but let's say 1 out of 10 are, then I could basically show an ad 10 different times to every single person in every woman in the Chicago area. And if they have friends or if they're interested or, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Then, and there are more cheaper times to opt. I think there's one food service company that was very successful in advertising on Pornhub, but I'm not tied to specific times,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to advertise at lunch or whatever.
Sure.
You could be up at 4 a.m. and it doesn't matter as long as you get the information across.
Exactly.
So right now it's kind of a matter of refining exactly what the design and wording for that ad should look like.
Gotcha.
But that's how I'm going to...
Images or anything
Images,
else?
yeah. That's how I'm going to get it out there. And then... we'll see what happens.
I wish you success.
Best of luck.
Yeah, I personally wish you success. Seriously.
Well, thank you.
Like, I can see it now. Like,
Yeah.
maybe I'm on that site for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And then there's that advertisement for Jade's, and I'm going to go, hey, I know this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't really click on the ads there, though. I'm afraid they're all going to spam me.
Well, I know that's the thing. It has to be succinct. Like, it can't be super long worded. It's got to be, because no one looks at the ads. You know.
Be sure to add at the bottom. This is not spam.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we're thinking of something along the lines of safely match and chat, or escorts can safely match and chat with clients for, and then sign up for free button.
Right.
Something like that, or log in for free, or whatever. Something along those lines.
Nice.
Actually, one of my sisters is going to help me with that because she's helpful.
Yeah. Nice.
So,
heck yeah.
I'm not a good marketer. I don't work in marketing. I'm an engineer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Different parts of the brain.
Different parts of the brain. So, yeah. I mean, yeah. It might be a life-changing thing.
Cool.
Nice.
Anyway,
I see the potential.
So, I feel like, like on some episodes of Joe Rogan, Alex has got to go. He's got a plane to catch. Thank you for your time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty soon, yeah.
Yeah. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below.
No doubt.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, anyone that happens to stumble upon this podcast, finds any part of it interesting, maybe we should consider. I know this is all live, we can't edit, but maybe there's a way we could put something that's like, hey, fast forward to this minute mark if you just want to hear about, what Alex is talking about with Jade's, or anything that we might have.
Yeah, I think there's ways to do that on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you can put like those little markers.
Markers and chapters. That might help make things more
speed up. Like skip the first 7 minutes or whatever it was. And I mean that was all interesting stuff. It's all related.
It's all relative and related.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I thank you, Alex. I'm appreciate you, giving our platform some.
Hell yeah.
A little bit of validity and gracing us with your presence.
Oh, thank you.
Some diversity for sure.
Oh, no doubt, man. No doubt. This is definitely a different trade.
Oh,
I know.
Yeah, well,
but it is
still
of all trades.
But it's still a trade, yeah.
It's really potentially any kind of trade.
Any trade.
If you want to be a welder on my site, I'm not going to stop you. Yeah. It's kind of a weird way to advertise, but it's free.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stop you.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Technically, it's the oldest trade, no?
Yes. Something like that.
Like we're trading. All it is money for time.
Yeah, money for time.
Time is money.
They're
equal, right?
Capitalism at its finest.
Time equals money. Money equals time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
exactly.
I love it.
That's all it is. Well, on that note, fellas.
Yeah.
See. Well, thank you for coming.
Yeah. It was good having you, or good being here.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Time for a beer.
Yeah.